This video is going to share the 4 steps on how to escape the time for money trap. So people that are coaches, service providers, maybe freelancers, or their agency owners, and their income is flatlining. This is why, and this is also how to get out of it. And at the end, I'm actually going to share something that's pretty awesome. So you're going to want to stay to the end because the thing at the end is free, and it's something I made for them to really walk them through this whole thing. We'll jump into part 1 here, which is the trap. Okay. Number 1 is the trap. Now, before we get into the trap, I just want to share something from the digital growth mastermind that we have, the DG mastermind. It's also what we used to win the school games twice. We digitized what we used to do as a service, turned it into something that has allowed us to make multiple 7 figures. So we're not coming at this from theory, but I want to share one of the members here, Melanie Ellis. She said she made $1,500 today while unpacking. So over the past month, she's been moving. She said she hasn't been able to work the business, even though that's been the situation for her. She made $4,000 in the last week. She says, so very grateful. God is good. You know, she came into this, and just like the people we're helping here, went from trading time for dollars to being able to move, not work on the business and still make money. Mm-hmm. Just like earlier, we were walking and I was like, the difference between what I used to do as an agency owner to what I'm doing now is I can be out here walking on the sidewalk and making 10 times the amount of money that I was making when I was hustling and grinding and having to go out and do all these things and only getting paid when I'm actually like grinding and hustling. Mm-hmm. So we're going to fix that in this video. I just wanted to share that, this isn't, fluff or anything like that. This is actually happening. And we've got thousands of stories literally inside of our community. The trap, right? What is the trap? When I was an agency owner or when I was coaching just one-to-one, it was great actually. The big thing was I was not working for someone else. I was working for myself. So I had a lot of money coming in that I didn't have before, and I was able to do what I wanted to do. It got to a place where I was like, all right, well, let's get some more clients. Let's make some more money. And the more clients that I got, the less time I had because I had to trade my time for dollars. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, well, I didn't know. I was like, this is great. This is what business is. But then if the person that is just like me that was watching this, you get to this place where you burn out because at one point I was doing like $40,000 a month and I was helping people do social media marketing. So I walked around town, I got all these clients and, I'd get them for a couple $1,000 a month. I would go, I'd have to take their videos, take their pictures, come back, edit them. Then I'd have to post them. Then I'd have to report to them and do all these things, go pick up my check, go do this. And there was always this thing going on in order for me to make money. When you first get into it, you're like, this is amazing. You feel awesome.
Right.
But then I burned out. And it was like, to do more money, I had to do more. And eventually you plateau. And the reason why is because you go, well, I'm making more money than the average bear, but I can't do much more because I'm going to literally go insane. I'm burning out. And so you just find this like place where it's like 10, 20 grand a month. And that's really what happens. If you're a freelancer, maybe you're on Upwork or Fiverr or something like that, and you're doing okay, you're making it, 6 figures, but it's just like you're stuck, right? This is the trap that you get into. And there's literally, I looked up the other day on Google, and then I looked it up on ChatGPT. There's about 600,000 freelancers and service providers and one-to-one coaches in the United States.
Wow.
That are doing this, which is insane. And those are the people we're really trying to help here. This is the problem. This is the trap. Number 1, more clients equals less time. Less time, you start burning out, and then you plateau because you reel it back. So how do you fix this? Well, let's look at step 2 here. Step 2 is you then get to this ceiling, right? So the trap, more clients, more money, less time. Less time sucks, burnout. You hit this ceiling. So the ceiling is about 10 grand a month, you'll see. It usually works out like this. Even when I was doing my 40 grand months, it would always somehow work its way back to like 10, 15, 20 grand. Then it'd pump up to, it's like this roller coaster you hear about, right? And it's just because here's what would happen. I'd get up to that 40 grand and I'm like, "Whoa, I'm making this money." And then I get burned out. So I let go, I'd plateau, and it would curl back down to like, like I said, 15, 20.
Yeah.
And you're always going through this. And it's such a painful thing. And to get through this ceiling, you have to do something, right? You have to change what you're doing. You can't keep doing the same thing and think it's going to come out different. So step 3 is the breakthrough. There's 3 main things that we have to fix here. Number 1, you got to fix your offer. Okay. The big reason we're in this mess to begin with is we're offering something that is making us have to go trade time for, right? Instead of doing the work for people, you can change it to where you're helping people do the work, right? So it becomes like, instead of a done for you or one-to-one, it's like a done with you or like a hybrid style offer, which I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. In this last part of the process here, you got to change the offer from an offer where you're doing it for them to where you're doing it with them in a hybrid way. Okay. I didn't think this was possible. When I first started doing this, I went from my agency where I was doing the social media marketing to then going and offering a hybrid style type course. I never thought people would want this. And this is a big, like belief problem that I had. And I think, probably the people listening to this right now have as well. Definitely. Matter of fact, I mean, down in the comments, put right now, if you're doing, a done for you service, if they're doing a done for you service and you feel like people won't pay you for your process or for your advice, just let me know down in the comments, because I totally understand that. The offer here, what has to change is you finding the people that are wanting your process. So one thing about being a one-to-one coach or doing done-for-you services or freelancing where you're actually the provider, the skill set provider, you're actually solving the problem with your hands, if you will. The powerful thing about that is you have the skill, right? So what happened here was I was trying to grow the agency, trying to get more clients. And I got to a point where I was at a break, right? I hit that ceiling. I was burnt out. And I had gotten another call it was a referral. And the guy said, "Hey, I want you to help me and all this." And I was at this point where I'm like, I'm not taking any more clients. And I told him, I was like, "I can't help you. I don't want to do it." He goes, "Well, what if you just trained my team?" I said, "Well, if you want me to do that," I said, "the only way I'll help you is if, you pay me like $5-6 grand to do this." And at the time, I was typically charging people like $1,000, $2,000 a month. So I was like double, almost tripling my pot, So I do that. He's like, "All right, cool." And I was like, "Damn, this is okay. This is great." So I then was like, okay, now I got to train his team. So what I did is I start putting together this process and I start laying out like what I did for them. And I changed the whole offer. I said, "Here's what I'll do. I'll lay out what I do and give that to you. It'll be kind of like a course, right?" But I said, it'll be better than that because instead of it being just a course, I'll also support you. And once a week, I'll get on with your team. I'll answer any questions they have. I'll record that and I'll put it back, with the rest of it. So you guys have that to look over it. Then I said, I'm going to go ahead and just put you in this community at the time. And at that time, it was just a Facebook group. Nowadays, we use School and all that. But I said, okay, I'll put you in there. And that way, if you have anything, you can put it in there and I'll just go check it. It's kind of like a service system. That worked really well. So I started just offering that. Okay. Well, the problem was then my offer became actually pretty vague because I was just trying to help people that needed that. And it wasn't very focused. Again, it started to plateau. The breakthrough I had was I need to get more, niche, more down into the process. And I started helping martial arts business owners. This is where it really changed, right? My whole offer went from me doing stuff for you for a couple grand a month to charging $5,800 one time or putting it into a recurring way. And then I would just give them my system. So I could offer this to people all over the world. I ended up getting clients all over the world. And this changes everything, right? It's a huge, huge breakthrough when you get through that.
How important would you say the offer is within this entire system?
Honestly, the offer is everything. Like before you do anything else, before you can get traffic, before you can get the system working for you, before you can do anything, you have to have an offer that people actually want. And there's a process for that. It's something we go deep in our mastermind. And, I've got something here that I'm going to give them that'll help them with this big time. But the offer's everything. Everything stems from the offer, right? You kind of work backwards, if you will, from that. So assuming you got your offer in place and you went from, done for you one-to-one to services done with you type thing. The next thing is you have to dial in your system. And your system, it comprises of how are you going to deliver the thing to them? How are you going to service them? And also, how are you going to take your traffic and take your potential prospects and the people that are out there? How are you going to turn them into leads and sales without you having to trade time for dollars? So this system, which we're going to talk about here in the next piece here, this thing is where the time really comes back, right? What I loved about this is when I finally changed my mind with the belief on the offer and the system was changing because instead of me going out there door to door, handshaking, grabbing checks, every time I went to go get paid by a check, it was like I'd go in there, they'd be busy or they weren't there. They said they'd be there, they were late. And it's like, again, I'm sitting there in my car or I'm, waiting in the lobby or I'm talking to their employees and it's like, it was just wasted.
Time waster.
Yeah. It was like after a while, it's like, damn, how, when I got the system where I didn't have to go do this door-to-door stuff, I could collect the money anytime, 24/7, immediately when they paid. All of this stuff was just a huge change. The way I delivered the process, automated. They could pay for it, get it, and it was better for them too. They got what they wanted faster. I got what I wanted. I didn't have to waste time. So the system is the other part. Okay, you have to change your mind around your system. And then the traffic. Instead of having to go door to door or, just completely depending on referrals, I don't care what anybody says. Most people that are doing one-to-one or they're doing, service providing like freelancers, they're always mainly dependent on referrals. I mean, for instance, I worked with martial arts business owners, again, one-to-one coaching, had to be there for them to make money. Every single time I'd get on a sales call with them, I would talk to them and I would say, so how do you get traffic? What do you do to get more people? Well, it's pretty much just referral, word of mouth, it was like this huge thing. And it was like, all right, another time waster. So how do you get traffic? Well, just like people are watching this video right now, obviously we recorded this a while ago, but we were able to digitize and duplicate ourselves. So instead of having to trade flesh to get out there, we're trading bits, right? And that's the big mindset shift you have to make. And here's what a lot of people say. Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Well, listen, you're going to, if you want your time back, you need to learn the process of creating organic content. And the way the algorithms and the way the machine works today, it's actually in our favor. I used to run a lot of money on ads. You remember,
thousands of dollars
a day, and if you had your things wrong, it was just, it would eat you alive. And so that's where I was like, I got to figure out how to do this with organic traffic, which is what we figured out. And it's really been, quite a 7-figure journey for us for that. Right. So again, you can automate your traffic, you can automate your system for delivery and marketing. And then you can also create an offer that works with this. And this is the trifecta. This is the breakthrough. This is the mindset shift that you have to make, to really make this work for you.
Definitely.
Now let's look at this next and final step. What is the actual escape model? We've heard about the trap that we get into. We see the ceiling that happens. We get stuck at this 10, 20 grand a month. And then the breakthrough and shift that we have to make going from manual one-to-one stuff to where we're doing automated. We're not relying just on referrals and things like that. And our system is working for us while we're doing other things. But what is the actual model? How do you make this shift? The escape model. What's nice about this is it's very simple. It can seem complicated, and that's where a lot of people, that's what happens to them. They literally like look at what it is and they get all crazy in their brain and they just give up on it. And they're like, it's too hard to do this. It's not as reliable. People aren't going to want this. Totally not true, right? The first thing is you have to diagnose your situation, all right? Are you burnt out? Do you not have leverage? Is this actually for you? Are other people doing what you're doing and they're making money? That was the thing I seen. I was like, I'm watching people that know the exact same stuff I'm doing and I know, but they're doing it without having to be manual about everything. Right. So I was diagnosing. I was like, am I trading time for dollars? This was something I had to come to realization. Mm-hmm. And if I wanted to have, freedom in my life, if I wanted to actually, be able to do stuff without having to always worry about that, it's kind of the dream, right? I can't trade my time for dollars. That's the big problem. People put in all this time, they barely get any money out. And then there's these other people out there in the world that put a little bit of time into something and focus, but they get these outsized returns. They get this huge leverage, right? The other thing, I didn't have leverage. So the first thing is got to get leverage. And I got to do something where I'm not burning out, okay? So what do? Well, you have to decide on your niche. Now, here's the good thing about people that I'm mostly talking to, which is the freelancers, the one-to-one coaches, the service providers, these agency owners and stuff. They already know they're good at something. Like one thing I was good at was I could, create images and stuff like this. I learned how to do that, edit videos, teach, create curriculums and stuff like that. And I liked it. I was good at it. I liked it. So you got to figure out, what are you good at? What do you like to do? Even when you're having a crappy day, is this something that, you could, do? Right. The next thing is like, who do you love working with? I found that I really loved working with business owners, right? I liked working with people that were entrepreneurs. I liked that mindset. I liked people. I wanted people that had money, right? I wanted people that knew the value of having these types of, processes and systems that we were helping them with. So again, what are you good at? Who do you love working with? And then who is already paying for this stuff, right? So the big mistake I made in the beginning when I picked a niche was I went real broad. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to help people do online business and digital marketing and stuff like that. Then I was like out at my grandpa's and I look under the TV, and I was in martial arts when I was little, and I was doing the splits in this picture, and I was like, I wonder who's helping these martial arts business owners get more students. So what I did was I went out there and I just jumped in, right? Mm-hmm. This is another big mistake people make. They toil around on trying to pick a niche, right. And it's like, just pick something.
Exactly.
Get close enough, right? It'll change as you go, just like what we've done. We started helping people. We started showing them what we're doing, how to build these processes and these systems, build a digital business. And through that, we've created other offers, and we found even tighter niches to go into that have been 7-figure things for us that we didn't even know was coming, but we would have never found them if we wouldn't have just gotten into it, right? I went and I found that martial arts business owners were literally paying people to learn how to put out flyers, how to set in a mall with a ticket box and taking coupons, or they'll go to they would go to gyms and break boards, all this stuff. And I'm like, hold on a second. These people don't realize that there's a better way. So I went and found out, all right, these people are already paying for something. I could focus just on them. And so I started small. I got real good at that. And then I was able to expand out to where we are today. Mm-hmm. Literally from working with martial arts business owners, we've expanded out to helping, freelancers and coaches and stuff like that go and get leverage and make money.
Right.
So what people need to do is pick a niche. What are you good at? Okay. What are you good at? Who do you love working with? And what are people already paying for?
Yeah. I think it's important to note too that the more specific that you can be when picking a niche will help you in the long run, right? Rather than picking something that's super general, right? We see that all the time. That's like the biggest difference, right? You see, and you take in like medicine, for example, right? You see specialists, like a heart doctor or a brain surgeon gets paid more than just a family medicine doctor. And that's,
100%.
So just keep that in mind when picking a niche.
Yeah, it's like, don't be a generalist, be a specialist.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's so true. Like and when I would do my videos, when I was getting the traffic that we talked about, every video I would start out and I would be like, hey, if you're a martial arts business owner, and it would just disqualify everybody that wasn't that. Mm-hmm. And what was crazy is my YouTube videos back then, okay, this is almost 10 years ago now, which is crazy. I would get 100, 200 views, and people be like, oh, your videos don't get any views, blah, 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 blah. But every view I got was from an actual martial arts business owner. And those videos, some of them would have a couple hundred views and would make me 20 grand, you know, because I was selling a very specialized offer, which I could charge more for. All right. So the niche is really cool. Most people will be able to find this pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, down in the comments, whoever's listening, you know, if you're, which one of these are you having the most trouble with, right? Like if you're having trouble with the niche, let me know. Maybe we can cover some other videos on that, you know? So, okay, escape model, we diagnose, we realize we have this niche now. And then the third thing is this offer model. Now, the offer model, what we teach inside the DG Mastermind, which you can go down to the description, learn more about that. But inside of that mastermind, what we teach people is how to create a hybrid offer. And this hybrid offer is a combination of a digital program. This is a pre-developed digital program. And what it is it's not like a course, you know, it's basically you taking your process step by step, click by click, showing somebody in a very simple way. We're not talking about creating a digital encyclopedia here. We're talking about what do they need to know, lean, mean, and scrappy, make it work. Then you have a group type process involved with it. So there's this community aspect. So you have the classroom and you have the community, because when I was starting to work with these people, it was like they would have questions. But again, I didn't want to trade my time for dollars.
Right.
I'm not getting on every single call with all these people. And so what I did is once a week in the community, I would then have a call that I would do. And I would get on once a week and I would answer questions from people going through the process. This is amazing because I would record it, then I would add it back to the member area. So here they have this program. Then, and that kept getting enhanced because when I would get on the weekly call, they would tell me what was missing, right? I could optimize. Then I would take that, I'd add the recording to the member area. So now they have the program and recorded service, right? They have recorded Q&As, they have all this. But then there's these people in there that would want to talk to each other. They would network, right? It was kind of like a micro mastermind. And so they would take care of a lot of the customer service too, because some people would be further along and they would go answer the question before I even got a chance to get back to it.
Right.
This was beautiful. Again, saving me time. And they felt significant. They thought it was, really powerful because it was like they're meeting other people like themselves. They weren't the only one. And then this membership model, what we would do is we would take the very best of the people that were in there and we would ask them, and we would also just understand and realize that they wanted more.
Right.
They needed more. And so what we would do is we would add a higher line membership in there. What we got now is we have this clarity to cash, right? It's like we have people in the DG Mastermind, and then we have a higher priced offer that we do where people can come to our house. We're doing one next weekend. We have, 15 people are coming to the house. Okay, we do these every so often, but they make, that one alone made almost 75,000, right? 75,000 for people to come over for 2 days. Not a bad deal, right?
Not at all.
And it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work.
Not at all. And what I'm trying to get at is when you go from this one-to-one, this service, this freelance, this trading time for dollars, and you move over to this digital model where you're basically taking yourself and automating yourself and duplicating yourself and digitizing yourself so that you can be all over the place all at once. You can make something once and it can sell thousands of them with not any extra work. The cool thing is there's all these little micro products that build up inside of it, right? So you get to actually expand your model out. You end up actually helping more people. And most entrepreneurs get into it because they have this like inner need to want to help people, right?
Absolutely.
Well, when you do one-to-one, you can't help as many people, right? You're limited. But when you do this model, you help people better. They can go back over your stuff many times and you can reach way more people. Okay. So this is the escape plan. This is the escape model. But how do you actually do this stuff, right? Like obviously, we can't cover everything in this video.
Right.
And so, as I said in the beginning, for those that stayed, we have this very special offer then for them. It's free, of course. What we have is this free 3-part mini series. Okay. So I call it the digital freedom map. They're going to get a digital freedom kit, and we show them how to escape, build, and scale their business, right? How to break free, how to design a scalable digital offer, and then grow sustainably and profitably. We take them through this very simple process. It's 3 videos. It's 100% free. All they got to do is go down to the description of this video, and down there they can click it, and all they do is they'll go to a landing page. They'll put in their name and email, and it instantly gets emailed to them. Video 1 is escaping the time for money trap. How to go from grinding to freedom. Like, what are those micro steps that you need to take? Then in video 2 is we go into the 3-step process to turn your expertise into a scalable offer. Okay, so here we show them how to pick, package, and pre-sell. That video alone is worth its weight in gold. And then video 3 here is we go through the 5-stage hybrid system. So this is how we build recurring 6-figure and even 7-figure businesses following our DG master map. And so I broke it all down in there. That way people can get there and go. A lot of people will look at this and this is all they'll need. They don't need to join the mastermind. And for some, they might want to, and they can do that as well. But
highly recommend to do it. I mean, it's free. We don't get anything out of this.
Yeah.
Right. They get all the value. So, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things where we're not here to try to bombard you with emails or do all this stuff. Frankly, I mean, we're good, right? We literally are passionate about this. I mean, you've been with us, worked with us for years. You know that, like, Michelle and I are nuts about this stuff, and we really want to just make a big impact. Honestly, we're trying to, one of my goals, one of my initial goals here is I want to help 1,000 families become financially free, right? Like, that's one thing I really want to be able to lay on my deathbed and be like, because of what we did and because we didn't give up and because we focused on this, 1,000 families were able to, change their whole course of their generations underneath them. And so, go grab this. It's amazing. And there should be a video popping up here on the screen here in just a minute. And in that video, we walk into how to really scale, why you shouldn't hire, instead why you should go from hiring to making a better offer. And it's really going to help people not make a mistake of going the route of, I need to build this big team and all this stuff that they think they need to build. So
check it out.